Now you've made the decision, what excites you about coming to Richmond?
Oh, I think obviously just really successful team, especially over the last 5 years, and I'm excited to learn, how they go about things, learn a different game style, and learn off, the other defenders down there. They've got some really good defenders that I think can help my game and try and take me to another level, which I'm excited about.
Well, that was Robbie Tarrant going from North Melbourne to Richmond and speaking about how excited he was to be a Tiger. It's a pretty easy segue, Sarah, into Richmond and how they can bounce back in 2022. Obviously, Tarrant's going to be a big boost, but they had 5 picks inside 30 in last week's national draft. Finals has to be on the agenda for Damien Hardwick next year, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. They really struggled with, it's been pretty well documented, the injuries they had in the second half of the season. But we get a fully fit Noah Bolter back, Nathan Broad, that'll help stabilise that backline an awful lot more with Tarrant effectively just taking that Asprey role. And Daniel Rioli had already sort of started to assume the Basher Hooley rebounding role of half-back. So I'm not convinced with the Tigers that the young players that they've drafted, as you said, 5 top 30 picks, whether they'll come in straight away. They seem to have, there's a bit of a logjam now developing, I think, of those younger players like your Jack Ross, Thompson Dow, Will Martin, and whether these 5 boys leapfrog them, I'm not too sure.
They drafted Josh Gibcus and Tom Brown, 2 defensive prospects, with their 2 first-round picks. Now, I know they bring Robbie Tarrant into the footy club, but David Asprey was a pretty surprise retirement earlier in the year. Do you think there's room for, in particular, Gibcus, who is the key defender of the 2? Tom Brown's more of a running small defender, but do you think Gibcus can play some senior footy next year?
I'd love to see him out on the field. It's just that, whether there will be a hole there. We saw last year that the Tigers don't have a huge amount of defensive stocks in the reserve. So Ryan Garthwaite was one who came in and out of the side as required when there were injuries, but he's since been delisted. Ben Miller's just played the 1 game. So that backup, key back role, for want of a better phrase, is there for the taking. So it'd be great to see Gibcus take it with both hands.
We spoke about Robbie Tarrant going from North Melbourne to Richmond. One player that went from Richmond to North Melbourne was Coleman-Jones. They also lost Chol to Gold Coast. Are you a bit worried about their height, particularly in the ruck and as a key forward option? Because Coleman-Jones and Chol are looking for opportunities, but I'm sure the Tigers would have liked to have them as depth options behind Toby Nankervis and in Ivan Soldo. Yeah,
I'm not as concerned about the ruck as I am about the key forward roles, I think. The Tigers are really keen on Mate Colina. They've sort of been pumping him up no end. Reckon he'll be a really good prospect. But like Ivan Soldo before him, he's come in as a Category B rookie, so still got a bit of development to go. But that key forward stocks, I think that's going to be the one for the Tigers recruiting staff to really look at for the next few years. As much as I love Jack Riewoldt, he's coming into the tail end of his career. Tom Lynch is in his late 20s as well. So to lose both Chol and Coleman-Jones out of that forward line, I think will really hurt in a few years.